is live. Is the D live? Is the D live? Is live. It is live. Is T witchy? It is. Is you Tubi? It is Facebooky? Boo boo boo. Come on, Bookie. Is la. Is Twitter. It is Facebooky. All right. Wee. Hey, the Texan. All right. About 60 seconds till the intro rolling thingy deal. About 60 42 seconds. Half a minute. Black Yoda in the house. Turn down this royalty-free music. Get the row on the showed. See if I can figure out how to push the button.
Welcome to the 9dNation.
בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Thousands of years later, it was Wednesday at 11 p.m. Central. Get your passport ready and be prepared to declare to the customs agents any edible plants or miscellaneous worldviews. You're now crossing into the nation with no denomination.
Welcome to the 9dNation. Kind of a lame play on words, honestly, but it's okay. We're in season 2, episode 50. What this is, basically, if you're new, is a reading followed by commentary. So a reading of the Bible followed by 22 shows on the Foxhole Live right now. Amazing. This show right now is being streamed on Twitter, Twitch, DLive, YouTube, Facebook, the Foxhole, and Rumble. Thanks to Commander Sloan of Sloan TV, who kind of said, "Why aren't you on Twitch?" We're like, no good reason. And then the other day, a couple weeks ago, he's like, "Why aren't you on Twitter?" I'm like, so I go over to Restream, and I'm like, boop. And we're on Twitter. It was that easy. And Rumble. He's like, "Why aren't you on Rumble?" I don't know these things. Now, Rumble is a little harder. Here's how you have to get on Rumble. You have to push the Rumble button And then every week, you have to actually go in and push show, the time, put a picture, and put a couple of pull-down menu things. And then you have to copy 2 things. Thanks, Rev. 5x5 on Twitch. You have to copy 2 things back over onto Restream. It takes a whole, 120 seconds. It's quite horrible. All right. So we've been reading the Bible for 50 weeks. Got to be somewhere. Might as well be here learning something. Nice spelling of something. So if you want to know how the East Texans would say it, they would say it like that. Something, something, something. At least that's what I remember growing up over there. That's how we would say it. Something. All right. I'm super tired, but that's not an excuse of any sort. So let's dig in. Let's dig into what's good. So in reading Genesis 1, verse 1 through Genesis 20, verse 18, these are the notes that I've collected and brought along. And they're not really supposed to, the notes themselves are just supposed to remind us of what can be unpacked. For example, I started it with no more water-based resets. Now that implies that there's been a reset, which reminds you there was actually a set. So, in other words, the beginning happened and then it was reset. But you can compact all that down just in reminder notes to say, no more water-based resets. No demonic half-breeds. No murder. No blood drinking. Among Japhethites and Hamites, Shemite Abraham twice moved around, not admitting he was married to Sarah. Then when God harries the local kings, including with castle-wide barrenness, wanting to marry Sarah, they pay Abraham off, and the king of Gerar gave Abraham a free land deed pass. He's like, you can move anywhere you want. So that's what we've learned so far. We've learned more than that, but that's what we've learned so far. For purposes of, the year 2023, based in the middle of North America, that's what I've carried forward as we've chatted about it and had discussions. So now, and again, if anyone's new here, we're going to do about 25 minutes of chit-chat about chapter 21, and then bring in the panel. And the panel will have Black Yoda and maybe a couple of others. Hey, Commander Sloan. Good to see you. Got to be up super early. Well, we'll pray for you to have good rest tonight. Get on with it, says Rev. Agreement. All right, let me push the next button. All right, with this here button, what we can do is go to Genesis 21. Gonna read. Now, there's no rhyme or reason to where I'm going to start and stop tonight. We're going to start where we left off, and we're going to stop as far as I got on preparing, which was only through verse 12. So 12 verses tonight. We've done longer in the past. Then the Lord took note of Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had promised. So Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age at the appointed time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham named his son who was born to him, the son whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, God has made laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh with me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have given birth to a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham held a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. Now Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham. Now Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking Isaac. Therefore she said to Abraham, "Drive out this slave woman and her son, for the son of this slave woman shall not be an heir with my son Isaac." The matter distressed Abraham greatly because of his son Ishmael. But God said to Abraham, "Do not be distressed because of the boy and your slave woman. Whatever Sarah tells you, listen to her, for through Isaac your descendants shall be named." And that's all I prepped for tonight, so that's where we're going to stop. It's kind of in the middle of something, but whatever. But let me offer you this. You know me, I like to pretend to read the Hebrew. So let's pretend to read the Hebrew, shall we? 21. You stupid. If you know that video. That's old. What's 9 plus 10? 21? You're stupid. No, I'm not. Good story, says Rev. Yeah, it's full. Right. You should always have 2 wives and competing warring children. Ahaya pakad et Sarah ke asher amar vayayas ahaya lasara kashar diber. Vatahar vateled Sarah leAvraham ben Lizkunau lamoed asher diber oto Elohim. Vayikra Avraham et Shem beno Hanolad lo asher yaleda lo Sarah tichchak. Vayamal Avraham et Yitzchak benos ben Shemonat Yamim ka'asher tziwa oto Elohim. Ve'avram ben miat shana behivaled lo et Yitzchak beno. Vatomer Sarah tzechok asa li Elohim kal hashomaya Yitzchak li. Vatomer milel leAvraham hanika vanim Sarah ki Yaladti ven Lizkunau. Let me scroll down because we're on verse 8 through 12. Vayigdal hayeled vayigamal vayaas Avraham mishte gadol beyom hagamel etz Yitzchak. Yitzchak. It's hard to say Isaac. It really is. Yitzchak. Vetere Sarah et ben Hagar hamishrit asher yaleda leAvram Mitzchak. Mitzachek. Sorry, I said that wrong. Vatamer leAvraham garesh ha'ama hazot ve'et bena kilo yirash ben ha'ama hazot im beni im Yitzchak. Vayera hadavar meod be'ene Avraham el odot beno. One more verse. Vayomer Elohim el Avraham el Yira beinecha al hana'ar ve'al ametecha kol asher tomar elecha Sarah yeshema bekola ki vayitzchak yikere lecha zara. All right. Now, the next thing we do, as you know, check on the chat real quick, but then we're going to go into verse 1 and take a look at the Hebrew and break it down into little bits and chew it up and digest it. What do you mean? 2 wives seems like a bad idea to me. Just saying. Says always in Texas. Agreement. All right. Let me check the Rumble chat and let's check Facebook, see how it's doing. Oh, it's sitting there chugging along. Look at you, good old Facebook. All right. Reminder, panel will be on in 20-25 minutes, seeing how quick I can get through this. So for this first verse, we need one new word that we've never seen before, pagad. In the first 50 weeks of studying this, we've not seen pagad. That's to attend to, visit, muster, or appoint. There's 306 examples in the Old Testament, and it often means to like number, So for doling out negative justice, think like a parking ticket meter person or like a detective. So there's a sense of not forgetting and coming along and giving individual one-on-one fertility implantations of some sort. So in other words, God, if you look at this verse here, he visited Sarah as he had said. So the new word is pagad. That's this one right here. He visited her. So this is like a very specific appointment is what I'm trying to get at. Like from a caretaker perspective, you see all these usages in here, but it can include punishment, but obviously this isn't a punishment, but a numbering, a census almost, you could say, like down here. All right, so my notes were horrible there, but you get the idea. So Ahiah stopped by particularly to Sarah as promised, and she got pregnant. So Abraham prayed down from Ahiah fertility on Gerar, and it also hit Sarah at the same time. So our story so far, if you remember in chapter 20, it ended with a wave of infertility being lifted off of Gerar because Abraham prays it off of them. And right then, Sarah also loses that problem. Did you start to think about the Passover? You know how all the firstborns drop dead unless there's this wave of loss of firstborn? This kind of reminded me like this is a wave of gaining of born. So it's obviously different, but just when the whole surrounding civilization goes through what God's chosen people go through, it just strikes me as kind of like similar. I don't know. Maybe it's a stretch. Verse 2. We've got one new word here, zagun. That's the old age. We've seen zagen. That's a word we've seen before. It means old. So this is like the past of old. So like aged. So she had old Abraham's son when Elohim said she would. So our story so far, I'm going to condense it down. No more water-based resets, no demonic half-breeds, no murder, no blood drinking. Among Japhethites and Hamites, Shemite Abraham worked a wandering hustle with Sarah. The local kings would pay them off. In Gerar, an infertility wave had come on the people, and when lifted, it worked on Sarah, and they had a son. That's what we learned up to verse 2. Now, verse 3. There's no new words here. Basically, Abraham dubbed the son born to him from Sarah Isaac. So Shemite Abraham worked a wandering hustle with Sarah, which had a side effect of Sarah finally having his son Isaac. Verse 4. Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old as God commanded. No words we've not seen before here. So we'll go to the next one. And I mean in the first 50 weeks of reading, all those words had been seen before. Abraham was 100 when his son Isaac was born to him. No new words here either. No new words. You telling me you love me, love you looking away. You don't need to hear G. Ross singing that. Verse 6. So our story is finally having his son Isaac when Abraham was 100. This one has a new word, sechok. That's laughter. There's 2 examples of this in the Old Testament, but it comes from sachak, which we've seen before, and that's to laugh. It almost sounds like a laugh, right? Sachak. Sarah said, God brought laughter to me. All who hear will laugh with me. And I think this is a joy, not like a joke. Like she's laughing with light spirit. Best I can tell from reading the text, right? Shemite Abraham worked a wandering hustle with Sarah, which had a side effect of Sarah finally and joyously having his son Isaac when Abraham was 100. Verse 7. Malal. We need to look at two new words, malal. It means to say. There's 5 examples in the Old Testament, or the Law and Prophets. One use is clearly the mouth talking, but you can also see speaking with foot signals in one case. StudyLight.org shows this word is a string of words. So I'm thinking it's like oration or explanation. We also need to look at the word yanak. That's to nurse. 32 examples in the Law and Prophets, or the Old Testament. Very straightforward, just what you think it is. To nurse. Meaning feed your baby the natural way. The way that, you used to have to hide in shame, and now it's like, it's pretty chill these days. Let's see. Sarah said, who could have predicted to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children she had birthed for him in his old age? By the way, God predicted it, right? Remember that? Yeah. She's like, who'd have thunk? Who'd have thought it? So verse 8 has one new word, gamal. That's to deal fully or adequately with, to deal out to. Okay. To wean or ripen. 37 examples in the Old Testament. It's similar to other words for wean. And it's kind of like the word for grow in this verse also. Gamal, gadol means large. So you grow to where you're independent of mom, basically. So Isaac grew, and Abraham held a weaning day feast. He was probably about 3 years old, by the way, side note. A little odd for us, but that's how it went back then. The 2021 census, 49% male and 50.4% female in America. Just a useless factoid. Doesn't that increase the dating potential of the male? So there. Just kidding. Not kidding much. What is this from Black Yoda? Oh, yeah. We saw that one a while back. That's a good one. Thanks for putting that link in there. Let's look at verse 9. There's no words we've not encountered before in the first 50 weeks. Sarah sees Hagar, the Egyptian's Abrahamic son. So Abraham and Hagar, the Egyptian, had a son, and he's poking fun at Isaac. We've seen this word before for poking fun. It has a mocking, kind of a mocking attribute to it. Like, you're making fun of me. Let's see. So our story is son Isaac, when Abraham was 100, but the Egyptian son of Abraham, Ishmael, poked fun at Isaac. Hey, thanks for the reminder, Commander. Let me go hit the red quick. I forgot to do it on my own show. The next census will be broken down into 50 genders. Probably. Lame. Biological? Will it be biological male? Or are you some other kind of male? The check's in the mail. Let's go to verse 10. There's no new words here that we've not seen before. So she told Abraham, boot the slave lady and her kid, as the son of the slave will not inherit alongside my son Isaac. So Abraham's half-sister's son, Isaac, couldn't get along with the half-Egyptian Ishmael. So his half-sister said, kick out the half-Egyptian son. A lot of halves here, right? Let's look at verse 11. There's one new word here, odoth, or odot. It's a cause. There's 11 examples in the Old Testament. It comes from the ash after a fire has burned. So think about this, like you've got cause and effect. You see a pile of ashes, you know it came from a fire. So that's this word Odoth, or Odot. Because it was about Isaac, this was a big deal to the viewpoint of Abraham in a negative way. So he's fretting over this. Let's look at verse 12. No new words here that we haven't come across before. Elohim told Abraham, change up your mind about the boy and the maid. Listen to what Sarah says, because Isaac is considered your lineage, at least for the covenant. So, to wrap it up, and I apologize that the Bible reading part is so short. It's all I had time for this week. Life was just super busy. No more water-based resets, no demonic half-breeds, no murder, no blood drinking. Among Japhethites and Hamites, Shemite, Abraham's half-sister's son Isaac, couldn't get along with the half-Egyptian Ishmael, so his half-sister said, kick out the half-Egyptian son. Elohim told Abraham to pick Isaac. There's more to come. Let me ask, Yoda, would you tell me in the chat, do you want me to hit another verse or two? Unpracticed, I can just dig through it, or do you want to hop on? Because, I want to give us enough to talk about, but if you're ready to hop on, we'll just talk about what we got. I'll do around the bend and around the horn, see what's up in the various chats. Couple of lurkers in Rumble, love it. Check over at the Foxhole. Very lurky, very nice, very nice. The checkbox other. I'm from other. All right, Twitch. All right, let me squeeze one more verse in just to say we did, and then I'll wait to see what Yoda says in the chat. So this is how I kind of prepare my notes. You'll get a chance to see this. So the next one, let me read it in English. And the son of the maid, I will make a nation also, because he's your descendant. Oh, we're good. Okay, I'll finish this one. We'll hop us on. So, V'gam et ben ha'ama lego ashimenu ki zaracha hu. So, V'gam, we've seen that in chapter 3. The son, we've seen that a million times. Of the bondwoman, I think we've seen that before. Chapter 20. So just last chapter. Lego, that's from Goyim, the nations. I'll make. That's from chapter 2. Because, key, we've seen that a million times. Your seed, I think we've seen that also like a handful of times, even in chapter 1, is he. So the son of a bondwoman, a nation, I will make because your seed he is. So he's like, Isaac's going to be your inheritance, but also you'll have Egyptian nations as well. Half Egyptian nations coming from you. So let's update the story so far with that. Hang on. Where's my notes? And then we'll start the panel. Let's see. Pick Isaac and Ishmael. Pick Isaac for heritage and Ishmael will have nations also. That'll work for now. All right, let me just highlight that. All right, now let's kickstart our panel. I've got to abruptly stop the music. I've got to abruptly kill the video. I've got to abruptly get some Jitsi links going. Jitsi. Get her going. Start the meeting. And pop it into the chat. Meeting. Oh, they're going to question you if you... Oh, did you declare anything different? So we know you changed on the census. All right. It is time for discussions. What all did we just cover? You know, it's like in the one verse he said, "Hey, Black Yoda,
Let me adjust my settings real quick.
do not adjust the dials. We are in control of your television."
So we got a short week this week.
Yeah, I could only get through a few pages of notes.
I had a feeling you were going to do it this way.
Not on purpose.
Well, no, I'm not. It's not a bad thing. I mean, we're still, in the good book,
Amen.
Not much material to go over other than the fact that Sarah is a jealous ass.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
she's mean.
No, dude, no. I'm starting to look at her a lot different
Mm-hmm.
these last couple of months. She is spiteful, bro.
Yeah, she comes across that way. I agree.
Yeah. Because, I mean, look how nasty she got as soon as she pops Isaac out. You know what I mean? Dude, think about it. The venom was so strong. God had to go to Abraham and be like, "Look, bro, I know she's difficult. Look,
Right.
just because of that, I'm gonna give him a nation too."
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Dude, how wicked do you have to be for God to have to make a promise? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I can't help but look at it like that. Am I wrong for that?
Oh, no. I think you're right on target.
Man. And my best friend, Greg, right? He has 4 kids with Shauna. They never got married. And way back in the day, when I was like 20 or 21, like they met, like at one point Greg had moved to Globe. That's kind of far from Phoenix, right? It's a little mining town. That's where he met Shauna. And this woman is like that. She is like that. Me and a whole lot of other people were trying to get him to break up with her. And as soon as he did, she got pregnant. Yeah. And from that moment forward, every time they broke up, somehow she would get pregnant. You know what I mean? Then it got to the point, and all 4 of these kids are girls. And it got to the point where he wanted to have a boy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Never had the boy. But as we read this, with Sarah, I can't help but think of the situation with him. Dude, I've disliked a lot of people in my life, but for me to personally dislike you,
right,
with like energy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I could only imagine what Abraham was thinking. Like, granted, he loves his wife, but I think about, the frustration that Greg deals with just talking about Shauna. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And there's different, I can go into Proverbs and go over parts where it tells you that it's better to live on the roof of your house than inside with a scornful woman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh my God. That's probably the reason why there's verses in the Bible like that. Because of Sarah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they learned it, from Sarah.
But don't they sort of get along now? Because he's coming through it.
Well, they get along. I mean, they're not together anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, this man had to move out of state, G. Ross.
Oh, man. States are big over there.
No, he moved from here to Oregon. You know?
That's a long drive.
Yeah, he's met somebody else. They're engaged. Actually, he's coming out for his daughter's graduation in about a week or so.
No, next week.
Yeah, in about a week or so. What do you think I said? Next year?
No, next week, and then there's another one the week after.
Yeah, but no, I'll be able to. I haven't seen him in like over what? It's been like what, a year and a half, something like that. It'd be fun to hang out with my friend again, but oh, Sarah, man, that lady is something special. I've dated a lot of beautiful chicks, but how hot do you have to be to put up with a headache? Or am I looking at that wrong?
No. I'm with you.
How's your week been?
Oh, it was very good. Very good. Very good. Thank you.
That's what's up.
Yep.
I doubt we have Faggy or Duppy chime in since the topic's so short.
It's so short. Yeah. Do you do we need to camp out on the feast day on weaning time? Like, we don't do that these days. That seemed a little different.
You know, that kind of stood out to me. I'm not quite certain why yet though. Because it specifically says 8 days.
No, that's when he was circumcised.
I thought it said, did I read that wrong?
He was probably about 3 when he was weaned. They used to go a bit long back in the day.
And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old.
Right.
So where do you get 3 years?
No, the feast was on verse 8.
Oh. Well, no, it says they had the feast on the same day, didn't they?
That he was weaned.
Right.
Which means he stopped nursing.
At 8 years old?
At 8, yeah, at 8 days old.
No. The child grew, and then he was weaned. Probably around 3 years old, from all the reading.
Oh, no. I was talking about being circumcised.
Right. They didn't do a feast on that day, I don't think. At least it doesn't mention it.
Hold on. Now you got me confused. I'm looking right at it. And the child, oh yeah, you're right, and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day. Oh, that he was weaned. Okay, I read that wrong. For some reason, I was thinking they did it the same day that he was circumcised.
Because I know my mother nursed all of us.
Ref says, hot crazy scale, classic.
Oh, have you ever seen, dude?
Yep.
Have you ever seen that YouTube video, the hot crazy matrix?
Yep, he's got it in the chat. So if anybody wants to see it, it's listed in the chat.
Oh my god, dude! The end of that is hilarious. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it.
Right.
But if y'all want to watch something funny, click that link after the show. The hot crazy matrix. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So did you catch that so Abraham was bugging up until when God said, no, you pick the younger, you pick the second one. Because Abraham seemed like Pythagoras been pointing out, he's kind of like putting Ishmael out there. And God's like, no, he'll be fine, but it's Isaac that we're after. So
keep in mind he's at an old age, even when he had the baby with Hagar, Ishmael, right?
Yep.
He's old. It's one of he's accomplished a lot in his life, right?
Yep.
He's got hundreds of people following him. I mean, he's able to walk into Egypt and be like, "What's up, Pharaoh?" You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, dude, how many balls? How big do your balls have to be to be on that level? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's accomplished. Like, all he wants is a kid. So, even though he had it with Hagar, that's gonna be his first love.
Yeah.
Next to God. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
I would feel like that.
Yeah.
Like me and my son, his mother, we were never married, but that's my son. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I could care less about getting married. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what about this weird timing where, I don't think God does this on coincidence. Sarah solves her lifelong fertility problem right when the house of Gerar gets solved because Abraham prays it off of them. Was it like spillover prayer?
I think so. That's what
I thought too, yeah.
I mean, that's the way I'm feeling about it because she was still unbearing long before they even got there.
Yeah.
right? So I think she just kind of lucked out. And instead of counting her blessings, she's taking it for granted and she's shunning Hagar.
Right. But she is, for a minute, joyous. I think the text does say that.
That was when she had the lady lump. As soon as that baby came out, she got spiteful. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Good point. Good point.
It's almost like she didn't want to jinx it and have like a stillbirth. So before she got nasty with it, you know what I mean? Let me make sure the baby comes out.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before I start being all braggadocious and shit.
That's
You know
a
what I'm
good
saying?
point. That's a good point.
Dude, I'm telling you, this girl, oh, wait. I'm
Excellent
looking at
point.
her in different eyes because when I went to Sunday school as a kid, it's a completely whitewashed picture that they painted of her. You know what I mean?
Right. The Texan reminds me, this is a good point. Vitamin K is at its highest level on day 8, and it's pivotal in blood clotting. So how did they know back then, right, without all of our modern science? The command was do it on day 8.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, which is a good time to do it.
See, this is why I like the foxhole. You never know what kind of interesting nugget you're going to bump into. And that's something I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Well, where the hell did he come up?
I don't know. I don't know. That's Texan. He's a smart guy.
Here, let's sauce this up here. Vitamin K production in infants, day 8. It'll probably pull up all kind of Snopes and fact check and all that.
You can get medical MD and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to walk away with a tumor. Dude, have you ever tried to diagnose yourself online?
Oh man, I get so sick just looking at it.
Dude, you never know. You fuck around and walk off with like some kind of tropical symptom. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
I thought vitamin K was a blood thinner.
Maybe the opposite. I'm trying to find. There's definitely some papers on it.
Look up vitamin K real quickly in a different tab.
It straight up says on this publication right here from River State University in Port Harcourt. What's this place?
Where,
I know. Wait, hold on, Bernie. I know vitamin K does do something with the blood, but honestly, I can't remember if it coagulates it or if it makes it thinner.
It says
come up
coagulation on this paper. Where is this institution? I cannot find it.
Because you get vitamin K in your dark greens. And I remember reading something a long time ago. If you're taking like blood thinner medication or something like that, something about that and vitamin K, like don't take vitamin K. That's why I was always thinking that, that it was a blood thinner.
Oh, okay. Namster says she was a mom and protective of her child's birthright.
That's understandable. I mean, because it does tell you that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's
But
like,
dude,
I don't, yeah.
She already kicked her out once.
Right. So here it is
You
again.
know what I mean? Yeah.
It's antidote for some poisons that contain blood thinners, like rat poisons.
Ew.
So I think it's a thickener. From
Okay.
what I'm seeing from what the chat and the internets are saying.
Okay. No, that's a great one to illustrate at the Texan. I mean, there's a lot of weird things that people did back in the day. Like, I know animals eat the placenta, but
Oh,
there's been some cultures that do the same thing,
can
like
I
people ones.
can I tell you a story about placenta day at the laboratory?
Oh my God, go ahead. Because
Yeah,
this sounds interesting. Oh my God, this intrigues the nerd in me.
it's disgusting. So when we first moved to Austin, see, I was like 25, 26. My wife got the first respectable job in the household, and she moved down to Austin, and I was finishing up school. And then, so I'm working at Best Buy, which, by the way, retail is not the easiest job in the world, but I have a heart for it. I used to work grocery and retail.
Okay.
I could see myself doing another season of that later in life, because you get to meet people, hanging out with the people. It's good, hard, honest work. Doesn't pay a lot. But anyway,
The people level, I could understand that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm working at the Best Buy, and across town, Barbara's working at a genetic research place back when it was newish. It was kind of new. It was like 1992. So there wasn't as much technology as there is now. It was popping, but it was still kind of new.
Yeah, it was crude.
So they were selling kits for research.
They were selling what?
Like kits for research, like lab
Oh, I thought
kits.
you said kids.
No, kits. Yeah, like
Sorry, I'm sorry.
little packages to do like some genetic sequences and stuff. This is way before CRISPR. So this is more for like figuring out a gene sequence more than changing it. Although I think they had some tools for that too, maybe, but not as fancy as they do these days.
Right.
So they were putting these together, and apparently one of the ingredients that they needed a lot of was human placentas. We only had one car, so I would often go pick her up after work. And I would go in and say, "Hi, everybody." I got to know the people.
Right.
But I started asking her, "Please tell me when Placenta Day is, because I cannot walk through that building." It was a smell, kind of like blood. But they would have like, I don't know if it was dozens or hundreds, and they'd be working with it to make their whatever. And I'm just like, I can't go in that building on Placenta Day. So please tell me when it's Placenta Day.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
No, they were using it as some kind of ingredient for their stuff.
Dude, there was a place here in Phoenix that got raided by the FBI because they were selling like babies and human organs and cadavers and all kinds of stuff. That was a couple of years ago. I mean, it got raided hard. You know what I mean? You would think I would know more about the situation, but that was a long time ago. I kind of forgot about it until just now. But there's a market for that. Sadly, don't even get me started about what China does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I've read stories where they're cutting people open while they're still alive. They don't even want to waste the drugs to like numb the area. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I was just telling due diligence yesterday. The part of the reason why it's so easy for me to cuss, I go down a lot of dark rabbit holes.
Mm-hmm.
And I hold on to that, that song that we all got taught in Sunday school, "This Little Light of Mine." I hold on to it. I try to protect it. That's why I still have a sense of humor.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a lot of dark stuff that happens in this world.
It is true.
I don't even know if I want to look up the placenta thing.
Well, they used it. It was, I guess, it had like good blood in it or something. I could ask.
No, it's supposed to be rich with even for like animals. Giving birth to something is hard on the body, and all the resources that it takes to develop another person.
Have you come across this thing? You're just reminding me. Apparently, there's another way to do the umbilical cord. Let the placenta stay attached to the kid for a long time. Have you heard about this?
I remember reading something where you shouldn't cut the umbilical cord for like, let's say like a day.
Yeah, it's a while. Yeah.
Like, because the longer you leave it attached, the better off the child will be. Like the immune system, um, just the vitamins and stuff that are still, in the placenta. I do remember reading something about that a long time ago.
Just reminded me. Let me see if they. How long should you wait to cut the umbilical? Oh, the umbilical.
But I've had litters of kittens and puppies, and the mama doesn't wait. They pretty much eat that right away.
Yeah. Tasty. Let's see. 15.
Dude, I've seen it. What do horses do? Ask the Texan. What do are colts or baby horses? Are they born with like the umbilical, or not the umbilical, but the placebo? Not placebo. Damn it, placenta.
Right. I can't find a quick answer to how long you should wait, according to this new theory. Everett
I
Holmes
mean,
says,
I've seen video of horses being born, but I don't remember seeing a placenta attached to it. Can you imagine an elephant? Wait,
did you see the?
don't they carry theirs for like a year and a half or something like that?
Oh, yeah. It's a long time.
It's way longer than us. I remember that much.
Did you see the lady that was in like a mud pit with like a baby elephant video going around a couple days ago?
No, I didn't. What happened?
Just she was playing around. It's kind of a fun looking video. Just imagine an elephant, baby elephant playing around. They were just kind of wrestling a little bit. But I'm like, I would not do that because even that baby elephant had like 100 pounds on her. It could stomp her.
Right.
Even on accident. Everett Holmes says, why did scientists allow and still use BC and AD if he was a fictional character in an antiquated book? It's a good question. He changed the calendar. Yep.
BC is before Christ, but AD isn't what a lot of people think. A lot of people think it's after death. But it stands for, how do you pronounce it? Anno Domini or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get the question, but it's kind of not the same, you know? Am I saying that right?
Yeah. Anno Domini, yeah. Namster says that's new age stuff. Probably that placenta, like not cutting the umbilical. I'm guessing from the delay. Right, the umbilical falls off. I've heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, it'll dry up, you know?
Yeah.
I've thought about stuff like this. They teach us, we evolved from monkeys and then turned into cavemen and then developed society, right? I know better now. But when I was younger, I used to wonder to myself, what did cavemen do? When it came to like, having kids, and how did they learn to farm a thing? Dude, I could go out of nature right now and barely know what's edible.
Right.
How did they, and my brain is a lot stronger than theirs. You know what I'm saying? From what they tell us. How did they figure that? None of that made sense. But now I know better.
The Texan confirms the placenta comes with the horse.
Oh. Does the horse eat it?
We'll have to wait and see. Have you ever tried this thing where you think, that maybe the Adam knew a lot of stuff and he handed it down?
Oh, I think that a lot. I mean, because he's learning from the man himself. He's dealing directly with God. you know. And then you got Lucifer chiming in on the sidelines. You know what I mean? Dropping. Let me word this carefully. Hinting at different things.
Right.
So his suggestive nature has to be um, intriguing, right? So if Adam is already knowledgeable, really knowledgeable, imagine the kind of intrigue that Lucifer would have to drop.
Right. To get his attention, gonna have to drop some info. I like that.
You know?
That's a good point.
Yeah. But yeah, like, dude, we were so misled in our younger years that it frustrates me to know a thing now because it makes me feel like I've wasted a lot of my life on frivolous nonsense. You know?
Yeah, but if I could go back and play those games of Halo again, I would.
Dude, I used to do murders on Call of Duty. You know?
Mm-hmm. So this is so disgusting, but I have to read this from the chat. This is from Namster.
Okay.
Some women have their placenta freeze dried and take it in capsules.
You know,
It's pretty
that
gross.
reminds me of stories about witchcraft
Mm.
because they do stuff with the placenta, from what I understand. You know who'd be a good person to ask about this is W.I. Wingnut.
Oh yeah. Let's see if W.I. Wingnut is broadcasting. I don't think so. I don't think he's usually doing stuff this time of day.
Actually, I'm supposed to message him because he brought up some stuff on Due Diligence show that I didn't know he participated with stuff like that before he got back into the Bible. You know,
Hmm.
and I was just curious. You know,
Yeah.
but no, he'd be a good one to ask about stuff like that.
You ever come across Bill Snevlin, a video
Who?
guy on YouTube?
What's his name?
William, and he calls it Snevelin, but it really looks like Snowbalin, the way it's spelled. Oh,
It
Just
doesn't
Jim is
ring
in
a
the
bell.
house.
Hey, what's up, Just Jim? It's been a while since you called in, bro. What you been
Just
up to?
Jim. Yeah.
We got a slow night tonight. If you want to participate,
I just put the link in the chat.
now, I had a feeling that you were just going to read that portion, but at least it finishes up that page.
I
And
would have had. Yeah.
we still got like 1,000 pages to go. I got one of those ribbons in my
Right.
Bible
Yep.
that you use as a bookmark.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were reading, or right before you came on, I was lifting the ribbon to open up the book, and I mentioned to Bernie, I was like, we're almost a year in, and this is all we've got into so far.
Yep.
And so all you see is like a few pages, and then like the rest of the thickness of my Bible. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
dude, that's like 1.5 inches right there. Oh man, I'm gonna know you for a long time, bro.
True that. True.
Uh, but I will say this much: everything we've gone over so far is like burned in my head now
Isn't
in
that
a
cool?
way that it wasn't, before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm aware of a thing, but like it's like burned in my head now.
I like that. Yep.
So yeah, I don't have any regrets. I'm glad that I participate with this. This has been fun. And I promise you, before we even did all this, I had a different perspective of Sarah in my head. And the epiphany that I had, what was it last week? That Abraham is Isaac's uncle too.
Yeah. I
Like,
never thought about that.
oh
Never thought about
my
that.
God, the Bible is something else. It really is. Uh, so for anybody that's out there in the chat that wasn't here last week, it was established that Sarah is Abraham's half sister from his father's side.
Right.
And that's when I realized that makes him Isaac's father and uncle at the same time. They definitely don't teach that in Sunday school.
No, they really don't.
Oh man. Dude, could you imagine what it would be like to be able to travel back into time when you were like, I don't know, say 10, with everything that you know now? Would you be a good boy or a bad boy?
I listen. I'm a terrible person. You know, you were talking about wingnut earlier.
Yeah.
I've mentioned before, I don't know what kept me from getting worse. I would openly play with tarot cards, Ouija boards, all kind of stuff. You know, and if I found darker stuff, I would have tried it, but something kept me from, just kept my life from going down that dark path.
I know exactly what you mean. I would ask questions, or if somebody was into it, like I'd ask them questions, but I was taught to stay away from that kind of stuff. So because of that, I instinctively was like, that's a no-no. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just a part of my foundation. Like, that's just the way I
Good.
was raised, you know? So I got
That's
to give my grandparents credit
yeah.
on that one. They
Yeah.
made for damn certain I didn't miss a day of Sunday school, a day of Awana, right?
Yeah.
My son's grandmother, his mother's mother, she's a Catholic. And she was always adamant about making her grandkids go to church and participate. And even though I'm Baptist, it never really bothered me because at least he's getting some of the message.
Yeah.
You know? So I never had quarreled with her about that. I'd rather have him have some of the message than none of it. You know? You'll meet my son one day, especially when I come out to Texas.
That's going to be awesome. Did you
Yeah.
say the other church was Catholic? Is that what you said?
She's Catholic.
So listen, Catholics carried the ball forward for 1,500 years, right? Before Martin Luther.
Yeah.
So I got to give them some kind of props.
I mean, it was a little nefarious if you ask me, but
Yeah, there was some issues.
yeah.
For sure.
Because for a bishop from the church to have the same kind of power as a king,
Right.
it's nefarious. You know what I mean? And don't even get me started about some of the artwork inside the Vatican.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, dude, for y'all that ain't never been down those rabbit holes, look at that throne thing that the Pope sits on. It is so satanic.
Here, I'm sure everyone's seen it, but I'm going to put it on the screen.
Oh, that is dark. You cannot tell me that's the Son of God.
Right. Talking about the chair of Saint Peter. That thing is.
I don't remember
hideous.
what it's called, but it literally has Lucifer like rising up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, let me share it. Right here. Yeah, this is crazy.
And then you got that temple. No, that's not the one I'm talking about.
Talking about the snake temple.
No, well, the snake temple is something different. That's outside the Vatican. But
Right.
yeah, it's like the head of a snake. Oh, you know what? I think the one I'm talking about, it might be inside that. Oh, yeah, it's inside that temple. The snake
I think
temple.
it is, yeah. Yeah, this thing is just dumb. Oh, yeah, you're talking about this.
I see words.
Hang on, I'll here we go. This thing. Oh, wait. Hang on. I can do better than that. There we go.
Yes, that. You gonna tell me that's the Son of God?
Right. It looks like Poseidon.
Dude, and all those little bitty parts look like
Little demon
soul.
things. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or
Like,
souls. Yeah. So I have to go back. Rev was talking about the time travel. He's like, I would abuse the knowledge.
it'd be hard not to, right?
Right.
Uh, I definitely buy shares in Microsoft and IBM. I'd be grabbing at my grandfather's shirt. Hey, buy IBM while it was still like $1. You know what I mean?
Right. Do you remember that chair I showed? Not this one, but the other one a minute ago? Duppy
Yeah.
says that one was completed in the year 1666.
Send me a picture of that one. I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
Will do.
Because I know. All right, so the 1611 Bible was commissioned, and I forget the guy's name that wrote it, but they executed him for that commission
Yeah.
around that time. Oh, why can't I remember his name? Can you look that up real quick?
I will.
Who wrote the 1611 Bible?
Can't remember. Who wrote Bible?
And his death should be around that time. Like they killed him for doing it.
I'm not seeing.
He translated. I shouldn't say wrote. He translated.
Right. Well, they had a couple. So if I remember right, wasn't King James like wanting to make sure they didn't pull any tricks, and so he had several people do it independently, and he threatened that if they cheated, he'd catch them, something like that.
I didn't even know that.
Well, I remember hearing it as a rumor, but I don't know that I sourced it.
Oh man, you gonna make me go to the laptop.
I am not finding who wrote it.
Hold on, let me.
Richard Bancroft.
No, that doesn't sound familiar.
Oh,
Here, let me go to the laptop real quick.
right on.
That's where I should be sitting at in
Oh.
the first place.
Somebody said Van Buren, but that
No.
sounds like an old president, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's not. I know as soon as I hear the name, it's gonna be like ding a ling a ling a ling. So hold on, let me grab a beer
Right on.
and jump in front of this laptop. Ugh.
Tyndale. Yeah.
Yes, Tinsdale. That guy. Look.
Yeah.
Oh, see, you saved me a trip to the laptop.
Hey, Bill Donahue's in the house.
What is up? Welcome to the party.
So, Bill Donahue, we covered Genesis chapter 21, verse 1 through 13. That's all I had time to prep for this week. So, we talked about Sarah's spiteful jealousy, and that was about it. B. Thaggy's in the house.
What's up, Thanky?
Thaggy points out the King James Version is based on the Masoretic or Masoretic text. I can't pronounce it.
Hey, look up Tinsdale and when he died.
Right on.
Just for some reason, that just strikes me as curious as far as that chair. And when they said that was built.
Tyndale. William Tyndale. William. Said he lived until 1536.
That can't be right.
That's what it says.
You're looking at the same guy?
Well, he looks kind of monk-ish in the picture.
Well, why would it be the 1611 Bible if he died in the late 1500s?
Oh, I don't think he wrote that one. I think he did do a translation, though.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I do have that mixed up. Because I have that bookmarked in my Amazon list.
Right.
The versions that he wrote are they're different parts. It's not like the full Bible.
There now, Tyndale is in our discussion. Hello, my name is Martin Tyndale.
Oh, wow, I forgot about that. Actually, I got a lot of books in my Amazon list that I haven't even gotten to yet. I think my next one is going to be the Apocrypha.
Nice. I kind of dig it.
Yeah.
I like me some Enoch.
Oh, I love Enoch. I mean, Enoch is almost like a Bible in itself, people. The best advice I could probably give you is find somebody on YouTube that's going over Enoch, but then translates it or breaks it down at the same time. Dude, I fall asleep listening to stuff like that. And most of the time, I'm just laying there listening instead of actually sleeping. You know what I mean? I do that a lot with a lot of stuff.
Did you
There's
ever see
times
the...
where,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I was going to change the subject sort of off of that.
Well, real quick.
Yeah.
There's times where my eyes will be so bloodshot and puffy because I haven't actually slept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Bernie will be like, "Did you sleep yesterday?" And I'm like, "Nah, I was just listening to podcasts and stuff."
Right.
And she'll be like, "Well, what about yesterday?" And I'm like, "Will you leave me alone?" Like,
She's just looking after you.
I know.
There was an old episode of Friends where he bought some tapes that you listen to while you're sleeping, so you stop smoking, Chandler. But he accidentally they shipped him the wrong ones, and so it was like turning him into a strong and powerful woman.
Oh, that's different.
So he started acting all feminine, not knowing why.
I know that was a popular show, but I never really got into it.
It's an interesting formula.
I mean, I'm not saying I never watched the episode, but I just never really got into it.
When it was on and new and everybody was watching it, I didn't watch it. I caught it later and was like, why did I not watch this? I find it compelling.
You know what I was like when it comes to that was The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing, like when it first came out, nothing intrigued me about, zombies, boogeyman, right?
Yeah.
And so I think they were in their third or fourth season. And one day I'm at home and I'm flipping through the channels and everything was on a commercial. I was getting irritated. Like, why are we paying for cable? So as I'm scrolling, what channel was that? I think it's 43, the AMC channel. And it was on. And so because there was nothing else on, I'm just sitting there watching it. And I realized real quick, it's not about running from zombies and killing zombies. There was the underlining storyline. And then somebody, like one of the main characters, was killed. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, but I didn't know what episode it was. You know what I'm saying? So I go on Netflix to see if it was on there, and it was. And so because I didn't know what episode it was, I was just like, all right, the best thing to do is just start from episode 1. Dude, it only took me like 2 episodes. I was an instant fan, you know? I really don't watch TV, people. I got too much other shit to do.
Bill Donahue comes in. Enoch is fun read, but not scripture. I would agree. I like the phrase "does not have the weight of scripture." I dig kind of putting it that way. Advanced knowledge. The Texan points out Enoch had advanced knowledge we do not grasp. Was Noah's great granddaddy.
Mm-hmm. They left Enoch out of the Bible on purpose.
Well, right.
Because for the people that really go through the Bible, the book of Enoch will really give you a better understanding of the world that we live in, the firmament, God.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want us knowing that stuff.
Correct.
No, I've learned some things that I've come to realize it's a waste of time trying to even share it with people because they just won't believe you. And so instead of getting frustrated, I'm just like, hey, you know what? When God deems you ready, he'll open your eyes the same way he did
brother.
me. You know?
Amen.
So I just leave that one at that, you know? Like me and my father, we will get into loud ass arguments. He claims to be a man of God.
Yeah.
But won't even listen to the things that I point out in the Bible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He wants to argue like his understanding.
You know what we end up doing a lot is we don't start with Jesus.
You mean like you and I on this show?
No, just like in our lives. I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying you don't, but a lot of people, including me, don't really focus in as often as could be beneficial.
I never thought about it, but I can agree with you on that. Like a lot of times when I talk about the Bible, I talk about the other stories.
Yeah.
Well, like one of my favorites is Lot.
Well, so it's possible to read the Bible and always see Jesus. Like, for example, a lot of these characters have character traits that while they're not perfect, they're at least, illustrating some aspects of Jesus. Melchizedek we came across. He's got some stuff that later on the author of Hebrews specifically spells out. So we've already seen Jesus in the first 21 chapters. The Ark of the Covenant, not the Ark. The Ark that Noah is in is covering up God's wrath. It's protecting them. It's coated in pitch. I don't know if you remember this, but that word for the pitch is like a ransom payment for redeeming a slave or for redemption. So there's a lot. We've seen Jesus a lot already, is my long-winded point.
Yeah. No, before I came on with you tonight, you made a comment about Abraham, and I'm trying to remember how you worded it. Because I was like, wow, that was a good point. And I was going to write it down, and I got distracted by something. I think Bernie asked me a question. But I think it was in relation to like what you're saying now, like, in reference to Jesus. Oh, can I remember? I'm going to have to go back and listen to it.
The name Noah is rest from labors. And, Jesus is our rest. So even like Noah would be another example.
Now, there's a lot of parts of the Bible that are just really intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for the most part, people know Jesus.
Yep.
Or know enough of him to be smart enough to side with God. Right?
Good point. Yep.
I think that's partly why I like going over the other stories.
Yeah. Well, so now to get super nerdy, the three visitors may, and I hold that it is, be a Christophany, which is, so a vision of God is a theophany. a vision of Christ, even if it's pre-incarnate, before he was born, would be called a Christophany. I hold that 3-person visitor, that one of those 3 was Christ, pre-incarnated, whatever that looks like.
I can see that because the way I picture God, he lives outside of time. So I could picture that. Matter of fact, this is going to sound weird that I'm making the comparison. And respect Black Yoda people, even though I'm going to say this shit. I remember dying in a past life. So how does time and space work with that? You know what I mean?
I kind of think that we have a restricted perception of time and space.
I could agree with that. Totally.
And I think you're kind of indicating, God's not restricted that way,
I don't think so. How could he be?
Yeah, and he even says, like, to him 1,000 years in a day would be, or a single, not watching the night, which is like 3 hours. It's all the same to him.
Nah, I think it reads a day for him is like 1,000 years for us, or something like that.
Yeah. There's 2 spots where he mentions that, and there's one where he says a day or a watch in the night to show that it's not even a direct fraction. It's just like any time.
It's funny you bring it up. One of the last arguments me and my father got into was about that.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, Steve, you're taking it too literal. That's not what it means. And I'm like, that's what it says. What do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
we. Because in his later years, he did Bible study for like years, right?
Yeah, good.
But if you ask me, they don't do it the way, you, Thaggy, Duppy, and I do it.
Right.
I love the 2 of them when they're going over the material with us. Because they go deeper than I would,
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if what we're doing is a study. It's just a discussion, a read.
I would consider that the same thing.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
we're not just glossing over it and just reading through it,
Right.
you know? So I consider that a version of study,
That's fair.
you know?
I think you guys helped make it into more of a study than it originally was.
I think we make it more interesting.
Yep.
Like if there was a church that did it like this, I would participate. I swear I would.
Well,
But you go to church nowadays, and it's the same old nonsense that they were telling me when I was in Sunday school.
right.
And they're jumping around, taking a selection of this chapter
Mm-hmm.
and making a comparison to another chapter, and those two stories don't have shit to do with each other.
Right. I think that's usually called topical. The church I'm at, we're doing we do expository, just go straight through one book. Like right now we're doing Ephesians.
Okay.
And sometimes only 2 verses for an hour.
No, that's understandable. It can get deep, people.
Yep.
I wonder. Now, Hebrew is a hard language. I wouldn't even. I think it would be easier to try to learn Chinese than Hebrew. You know.
I've heard that.
And then you add the arithmetic to it,
Oh yeah.
the words and the numbers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, sometimes I wonder how different will my perception of the world be if I could read and understand Hebrew with the numbers.
Ooh.
The devil would hate me. He already doesn't like me.
Right.
I know that. Matter of fact, the stuff that we were talking about yesterday with dude, I was out here burning sage. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, yeah, y'all ain't inviting devils into my house. But for such a short topic,
I think we did pretty good with just hanging out.
I agree. I'll try to plow through a little bit extra next week. I'll do as much as I can. We had this last weekend, we spend every 6 months. I probably told you this was coming up. Angular and I, we go in and spend a whole Saturday, basically. It takes up the whole day. Got to drive there. It takes 4 or 5 hours plus the award ceremony and come back. We do our big karate test, and that was this weekend. So that took up a little bit of my prep time.
How did that work out? I
Worked out
about
great. Yep. So we've done the first test a few years ago that got us to black belt. And then we did every 6 months we go back and they just have you retest to kind of level up a little bit slowly.
So Angular, he's a little bit of a kick-ass.
He is. So we turned a corner with him about 2 weeks ago. I'm always asking him to, spar me, and he's a little timid because I think he's like, yeah, I don't want to. You're kind of old, so I don't want to punch you in the face. Right,
I don't want to hurt
exactly.
you, bro.
But I keep telling him, I'm like, test me out a little bit. So he finally started, and I'm like, I better pay attention now. Here come the fists,
Yeah.
So we were having some fun. It was good.
Dude, my son is 23, right? When he was 17, he came down to stay with me for the summer. And we were at Walmart for some reason. And we were in the sport. Oh, he wanted weights. And I was getting him some weights that he could work out with. And since we're in the sports section, I saw football. I still got it. It was blue and gray. It wasn't like a sports team, but it reminded me of the Detroit Lions, the colors, being from Michigan and whatnot, right? So I get the football.
I would be doing Dallas Cowboys down here, but go ahead. Same colors.
I liked you up until a couple of seconds ago.
But it's the same colors. The Detroit and Dallas both have blue and silver.
Yeah. No, I get it. I was worried that he was going to be a Dallas fan.
Yeah.
Growing up in Texas, somehow he became a Patriots fan. How the hell did that happen?
That's crazy.
Right?
All my time in New York, I can't get with the Patriots.
But no, he wanted to challenge me on everything that year for some reason. Now, keep in mind, he played football. He was on the wrestling team. No, he's physical, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to test me on everything unless I was pissed off about something. You know what I mean? But the fact that your son has that kind of respect, that's love, bro.
It is.
I mean, how many stories are in the Bible where fathers and sons don't get along?
A lot.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying about Hebrew alphabet and the numbers, the Texan says, look into Trey Smith does a good job.
On YouTube?
I'm guessing, yeah.
Here, let me write that down.
Trey Smith.
I trust the Texan. That's my guy.
Did you catch any of his shows yesterday or the day before?
The Texan?
Yeah.
I miss him a lot of the times because I got a weird schedule, people. Like, I really do, So when I can catch him, I try. And I try to let him know that I'm in the chat. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, the reason I brought it up is if you can go get the replays, it was pretty good deep dives.
Okay, I'll look up the one you say for yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yesterday and then the day before. Actually, if you look at his streams, the last 3 shows, especially go back 3 ago, I want to say it was 3 or 4, a really good child trafficking episode. And, Foxhole people are going to be super up to speed on child trafficking. Yeah. It was fresh take, put it all together. I found it educational. Really good perspectives.
So back to the dark part.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't get it. Maybe it's because of how I was raised. Actually, it might have everything to do with how I was raised. but I never understood an adult's attraction to kids.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, you know what? I have a link on my Facebook where this black lady caught these two African kids. They were like teenagers trying to kidnap some kids, and the neighborhood caught them.
Oh, good.
I would ask you to share it, but she cussed. She cusses more than I do in this video that she was taking.
It's a high bar, Yoda.
And she would no, trust me when I say this. I mean, every two words was just F this and you mother that. And
Yeah.
the funny part to me, she was like, she's cussing them out, right? And they side-eyed her. They had already got their ass whooped by the neighborhood, right? And they're waiting for the police to show up. And as she's cussing them out, I guess one of them side-eyed her the wrong way, and she was like, beat their ass again.
So I'm gonna put a copy of that. I see it on your Facebook. I'm gonna put a copy in the chat.
Please, people in the chat, y'all need to watch that. It's heartbreaking but invigorating at the same time, because people are paying more attention to this shit in a way that we didn't used to before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I shared it.
How do you share? I'm trying to share a link.
Hit the share button on on Facebook.
Yeah.
I know on my phone it'll give you an options, and when you click options, you can click like copy, or if I want to message somebody, I can click the person in the text. You know what I mean?
Tried to take 3 little kids
here.
off of my motherfucking block coming from school.
There we go. I know how to do it now. I put it in there.
Oh, she went off, and I give her props for that. But that's just something I've never understood. Like when I see like a little kid, I got questions like, are you hungry? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
You want to take care of them.
Yeah, like where do you get sexual attraction from?
That's hard to figure out.
I swear to God, if anybody in the chat can answer that for me, I honestly do not understand how that comes into play. Even now, the older I get, I'm more attracted to older women than say when I was like, 25.
Mm-hmm.
I was attracted to women that were my age or a little bit older.
It goes with your age, basically. Yeah. It's normal, I would think.
Like when I see younger women now, my first thought isn't, oh, you got a nice ass, I would love to pound that, right?
Right.
No, my first thought is like, oh, you could be awesome for my son.
Right. Because you're thinking that what you're saying to me sounds like what should be common sense, right? But things get upside down.
Maybe we're built different. I don't know.
Well,
I always thought.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
One thought I had is, as we learn more about adrenochrome, I could see how like really corrupt people can be hooked on a drug like that. I can see that.
But dude, when you know where it comes from,
right,
and what a kid has to go through for you to get it,
right, I would think they would hook you first and then tell you later.
Dude, I know some really dark stories.
Yeah.
And there's parts of me that pray that's all it is a story.
Yeah, I think about that. Like, it would be great if all this stuff was less true than we're afraid it is.
I'm not even going to mention, I don't even want to put that into the universe, some of the stuff that I've gone over, Right. I will say this. I came across something that was saying that some of those files that they took from Trump out of Mar-a-Lago were cases that had testimony talking about some of this stuff. Yeah. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, I did not pick up on that. but I'm imagining it's plausible to me.
Very plausible. Yeah.
Today
I
the
mean,
Texan. Oh yeah, go ahead.
no. Go ahead. I'm curious.
No, this is a new topic.
Go.
So so today the Texan had his first day of physical therapy for his knee, like post knee repair. He's going to call it pain therapy.
Is that from getting in and out of those big rigs at the Texan?
That's a good question.
I mean, that's a big step. You know what I mean? Jumping in and out and getting in the back. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because the older I get, my knees bother me. Like, I can't squat down.
Yes.
I have a hard time squat. Like, if I,
Mm-hmm.
like, say I'm out here, like earlier today, I was trimming plants and stuff, and I had to squat down. And my left knee was like, "Are you crazy?" You know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah.
are you doing to us?
Yep.
And so I had to get my little stool and sit on it. Getting old sucks, people.
Yeah,
It
my
really
knees
does.
are definitely a concern.
I remember being younger, laughing at older people. Stop being a pussy. You know what I mean? Like,
However, you convert to the old man strength.
oh
You
yeah,
get that old man. It's for me, it's more like just stubbornness. I can get through, the kids, I'm doing the same. Do you ever see The Office, Dwight Schrute, beating up a bunch of kids in karate? That's basically me. So we go to these karate tests and they're pumping out the 125 push-ups, and for them, it just hurts. But they got the energy.
right.
For me, I don't have the energy, and it does hurt, but I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it.
Well, I think the old man strength comes from experience and confidence,
Yeah.
and it's centered in your chi in a
Fair.
way.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Because a youngster like my son, he's 23. Physically, is he stronger than me? Maybe, but I got that whoop your ass energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you ever hear about these guys? And I've heard about this time to time. I don't know a lot about it, but apparently you can get an imbalance of whether you can feel that stop pushing in your muscles. Like there's some sort of thing that tells you not to keep. Like you can actually fire your muscles hard enough to tear them or to rip the connection to the bone off, or even break the bone.
Right. There's a lot of things about the way God designed us that actually restricts us. And if it wasn't for that mechanism or mechanisms, I honestly believe we would rip the meat suit apart. We're that strong. God built us that strong,
Yep.
and He's trying to lock it into flesh. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
No, my faith in God is 100, people. And a long time ago, one of the first times you and I talked to each other, even though I love God, I love Jesus, I would be scared to actually meet Him.
Right. I agree. Me too. We're going to eventually, but that face to face, typically in the Bible, people are like, "Ee," when it happens.
But I've heard afterlife stories.
Yeah.
Where people were scared at first, but then they talk about this immense feeling of love and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. All I can say, when I do meet him is I tried. Look at the world that you gave me to play in. This is literally the Lucifer's prison. You gave me his prison to play in to learn about life and, try to be a good person.
Well, remember what the good gospel preacher that I'll try to be here for a second is whatever we try, the Son of God actually did. And that's basically the good news. We hang under his umbrella, basically.
Could you imagine being Jesus, knowing that that's your fate,
Yeah.
and still trying to create faith in other people and being optimistic and positive, smiling, breaking bread? Dude, I'd be throwing rocks and shit. I'd be mad as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. Well, and
I'm
that's
not
the
making
big
light of it.
yeah, that's the awesomeness of it, is he made that choice. He said did you remember, you probably come across this. There's a medical phenomenon. You can sweat blood. The night before, he was so keyed up that when he was praying, he was sweating blood.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Let me find the verse for you.
Oh, please do. I do not remember that.
Let's see. Luke 22:44. Let me pull it up. Luke 22.
Oh, right there, right under Trey Smith. You said
Now,
Luke 22:44, right?
Mm-hmm. Luke 22:44. I'll read the NASB version. So he
Wait,
said,
I got a comment before I forget.
yeah, please.
Those are master numbers.
Right. Yes, those are.
I just want, for the people that understand what that means, that's important.
Well, it's dubs and trips in in the old board terminology, right?
So, yeah, I mean, read the verse, please. But that just really popped out to me. Those are master numbers.
Says, being in agony, he was praying very fervently, and his sweat became like drops of blood falling down upon the ground. Now, in seeing that, it could just mean the size and shape, but then you find out later that you can actually sweat blood under stress. So I take it as even turned red, like it was actually blood sweating.
Dude, how high does your blood pressure have to be to do that?
Right. Phenomenon.
Wow.
Sweating blood. Let's see what it's called. Hematohydrosis.
I'm not even going to try to spell that. That sounded like Japanese.
Yeah, I mispronounced it also. There's a little picture of a kid with hematohydrosis.
That sounds like a samurai move.
Right. Blood
Sometimes
sweat.
I say stuff without even thinking about it, and then I just crack myself up.
It says it can come out of your fingernails also when you have this.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. You ever have a hangnail? Shit.
Yeah.
Dude, the weird stuff you learn on the foxhole, people. Welcome to the club. Shit.
Right.
No, I didn't know you could. How in the hell do you sweat blood from the fingernail?
I don't know. That part doesn't make sense, but the rest of it makes sense. It says it comes from, let's see, the cause is the blood vessels that go into the sweat glands rupture.
I could see that through high blood pressure.
Yeah, like you were
But
saying.
how does your heart not explode before that happens?
It could. I would think that's why it's a rare condition. Usually they probably have a heart attack first.
I mean, I would think your ventricles in the heart would blow out before that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think typically they would. But sometimes that happens first.
Wow. That, ooh-wee. Well, I know that's not going to happen to Bernie because she's cold all the time. And I keep telling her, I was like, just because you got low blood pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm the complete opposite. I'm hot all the time. You know what I mean? I got higher blood pressure, you know?
Mm-hmm. So I have to address Namster's got a genius point in the text in the
What's
chat
that?
in the chat. And I drink cow milk a lot. So what I'm about to say is going to sound, what's the word? Hypocritical. But I don't think I could take a bovine colostrum supplement. I just don't.
Wait. A bovine what supplement?
Colostrum. You know that the first part of the milk production that's got more stuff in it?
You talking about heavy cream?
No, not heavy cream. That's a good point. But colostrum here. Let me. I'm
The
going to
fuck
have to
is
read it.
colostrum?
It's the first milk. So when the mammary glands of a mammal, right after delivery of a newborn, or I think it happens every time they go. It's a little thicker. It's got more stuff in it. It's spelled
The only,
C. Yeah, go ahead.
the only the only time, like, I don't do dairy milk anymore.
Yeah.
I do heavy cream for like my coffee,
Mm-hmm.
macaroni and cheese. Like I was gonna make some tomato soup tonight. That's where you take a whole lot of tomatoes, onion, chop them up, immerse your blender, add some heavy cream, seasonings. You're good to go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Oh man! To add to that, I got some dill out here growing on the patio. Dude, I can't wait till they're big enough to where I like cut some snippets off, saute some onions, and make a grilled cheese sandwich with some tomato soup with that dill. Ah, dude, I gotta wait like 4 more weeks for that.
Mm.
But no, I don't do like dairy milk anymore.
No, I
I
figured
do
you might not.
I do coconut milk.
Right.
But don't get it wrong, people. I love my butter. I
Mm.
cook everything with butter. You know what I mean?
Butter's good.
And sour cream. Oh my god, dude. You know how everybody has like a go-to thing for like something quick to eat?
Yeah.
One of mine is pinto beans and scrambled eggs in a flour tortilla, right? Or I'll do refried beans with some onions and different vegetables like tomato and whatnot, with some sour cream and some shredded cheddar cheese. Dude, I could do that in like 5 minutes.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I will send you a picture. Dude, I told Bernie one night. I was like, I'm not in the mood to cook. I'm just gonna make something quick and easy. I'm in the kitchen for like 5-10 minutes, and I come out with this plate. And the two tacos that I gave her, dude, they were huge. You know
Right.
what I mean? And she, as she's looking at it, I pulled out my phone and took a picture, and you could just see it in her face, like, how am I going to eat this? Dude, I do that to her so many times. You know what I mean? But I'm trying to keep her alive, people. I love her. You know,
Yep.
that's my mama bear,
That's awesome.
dude. I remember when I was working at Honeywell. I was there for a couple of months, maybe about 6 months. And my old boss that hired me, he calls me into his office one day, and he had two offices. This one is the one that was in the back of the shop or the lab, and he's like, "You keep talking about this Bernie person. Who's Bernie?" And I was like, "Oh, let me tell you, you know." And I'm starting to talk about her, and then I stopped, and I was like, "Hold on. Do you think Bernie is a guy?" I was like, "Because Bernie is short for Bernadette." And the relief on his face, and he just like sat back in his chair. And I was like, dude, you thought you thought I was talking about a guy this whole time? And I was like, no. And, dude, I was just looking at him like puzzled. Like, I never made that connection because I'm so
Right.
used to her being, Bernie, right?
Yeah.
And so then he was like, well, tell me more about her. And I'll never forget this comment because I don't even know where it came from. But I was like, dude, I can burn down my entire neighborhood. And her first thing to say to me would be like, you must have had a good reason, you know? And
Yeah.
and he was just like, oh, you mean like unconditional love? And I was like, pretty much. And I was like, I'm not trading that in for nothing. You know what I mean? I don't even get that from my family, you know? So a lot of times I hear people bitch and whine about, how their family treats them. Some of my best family aren't even blood related to me,
Right.
you know? I mean, look at the foxhole. Look at how many friendships and brotherhoods and sisterhoods have been developed just because of, this,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed this a couple years ago before the purge.
Yeah. But it's a good thing,
It's
you
a
know?
wonderful thing. I was talking with somebody earlier today, and I was like, I'm still trying to explain to myself what it is we do here, why we're doing it, what the jam is. And I like things in life that are really hard to explain.
This isn't hard to explain.
Yeah, but take a non-foxhole person and tell him what the foxhole is. I find you can't quite hit it. They have to come over and check it out. See what I mean?
I would tell them Foxhole is a lot like YouTube, but it's more personal.
Yeah. That's good.
In a nutshell, that's how I look at it.
Yeah. That's perfect.
I mean, I don't know about other people, but everywhere I go, I don't care who's streaming.
Right.
Everywhere I go, as soon as I mention a comment in the chat, oh, Black Yoda, da, 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 da.
Right.
And then I'm spending so much time responding to comments that I'm not even listening to the,
That happens, I know.
So a lot of times I lurk. I won't even say anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or I'll wait till like the end of a show and be like, hey, everybody.
Yep.
And it's not because I don't love them back. It just takes a lot of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I stopped using my real name, people. I stopped using my real name a long time ago because I started getting people started to know me more. And
What about
I
this?
kind of figured maybe it's not a good idea to use my biblical name, you know?
Well, over on Facebook, I've seen this guy, Steven Furner.
That's because I got censored, dude. That was my backup page. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Actually, earlier today, I'm just all right. So I got a Black Yoda page, but when I try to use it, Facebook did something to where my phone starts glitching when I try to post anything, right? So it crossed my mind earlier today. Well, I could change my name on my regular, on my backup page. So instead of flat out changing it, I put the two together. So eventually I'll delete the Zeven Ferner. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But no, I had to make that as a backup because I got two back-to-back 30-day strikes.
Ah.
And I was like, there's no way in hell. No, we got to do something about this. Actually, one of my lady friends in Atlanta, she just had two back-to-back 30-day strikes and just got out of Facebook jail like 2 days ago.
There I was thinking about putting like Friday's show on YouTube. It's not worth it. I'll just put 5 minutes and send them off. This one's on YouTube tonight. The Wednesday night show survives. I don't never get a strike on Wednesday nights.
That's good.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of channels on YouTube that go over the Bible. One of my favorites, I've shared it with you. Now You See TV.
Yeah, those guys are good.
They get strikes a lot, and sometimes they don't even bother with YouTube. They'll just go on Rumble.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Those two go hard in the paint. I don't know another duo or just an individual that goes hard in the paint like those two.
Yeah, they're good.
They're really good, people. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, it's Now You See TV. Give them a holler.
Oh, and they got years of material. What, a good 5, 6 years? Something like that.
Here, let me check.
You will not get bored with the material that they have. I promise you that.
YouTube. Now you see.
Oh yeah, drop a link. Let's show them some love.
Yep. And I'm gonna just check and see how long they've been putting videos up too, because you mentioned that.
It's got to be at least 5 years.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 7 years ago, believe it or not. The first one that I'm seeing. Now, hold on a second. Did I do the right one? Yeah, now you see TV. It's kind of got a. Here, let me share my screen.
It should be like a red and white and blue logo or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. These guys.
Yeah, those guys.
But I thought there used to be more videos. I must be doing something wrong.
They have a lot of videos. YouTube
Oh.
might have took some of them down.
Under live, they have a lot more.
Yeah.
I was on the wrong tab. All right, let's go back. Yeah, 7 years ago.
Yeah, they go hard in the paint. And John Pounders, he's the younger one with the beard.
Yeah.
He used to be a drug dealer, a drug addict.
Ah,
Changed his whole life. You know what I mean? By putting his hands or putting his faith or his himself in God's hands. You know?
right, right. So that first video was 7 years and 2 weeks ago, basically.
For any of y'all in the chat that don't know about this channel, I highly suggest you give them a sub. Like a lot of times when I can't sleep, I'll scroll back on some random
Mm-hmm.
and put on one of their videos and just lay there, listen. I'll try to visualize in my head like what they're talking about, and eventually I'll fall asleep. But dude, I've had some of the wickedest dreams because I fell asleep listening to them.
Right.
Dude, not like when I say wicked, I mean just like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Not wicked as in,
Yeah. Not evil.
demonic or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I've had some of the craziest dreams because I fell asleep listening to them. What you got planned for tomorrow, G. Ross?
I got to go sweat for the man. But in the
There's
evening.
problems to have.
Yeah, I agree. They told me today it was going to crank up to crazy again, which it already is. So we'll see.
Is that a summer thing or?
No, they're just always complaining that we're not working hard enough, even though we work our butts off. The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Well, that's management in general.
Yes, it is.
Unless they have an employee appreciation day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then they want to get pizza and shit. Like you don't do that when you go home. You know what I mean?
Right. But then tomorrow evening, I'll do my normal martial arts, and that'll be awesome. How about you? What you got planned?
Just research.
Nice.
I still gotta clean off the back patio because it's been a lot cooler this year here in Phoenix.
Yeah, same here.
And a lot wetter. We've been getting rain a lot more than previous years. And even though I got a lot of brick and stuff on the back patio, weeds find a way to just weave in between them bitches. You know what I mean?
They do.
So the reason why I'm doing all this is because I don't know how it is where you live, but twice a year they do bulk trash pickup.
Yeah.
For us. And that's about to go down.
Nice.
So I got to clear out the garage because I was lazy the last time they did bulk trash pickup. So I just want to whip stuff into shape. You know what I mean? So that's really all it is on my to-do list.
Good man. Love it.
No, just a lot of rabbit holing. There's a lot of weird stuff that's happening in the world right now that got people worried.
Uh-huh.
The brick thing, people, and the
Yup.
dollar.
Yup.
I wouldn't worry about that. That's actually a good thing. But I'm not giving y'all financial advice.
No financial advice.
I wouldn't worry about the way the dollar's going. The reason why they're spending it so hard, they want it to blow up. They want it to die. They want to come out with a new currency.
Right.
They don't have a choice.
Right.
You have these other countries that are backing their currency with gold. Ours is a debt note. There's nothing backing it. So we don't have a choice. So people are talking about, oh, overspending. They are going to drive that thing into the ground
Yeah, they are.
until it's worth like what, 1 cent?
Mm-hmm.
So I try to learn what I can learn. I participate with a lot of other people's conversations to just try to calm people down. I don't always talk about God, but I'll make comments like have faith, blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
drop a little truth. You know what I mean? Y'all have no idea how much time I spend just doing that. You know what I mean? But I don't mind it because it keeps me in the know. Like, how many times have you seen me participate in conversations and somebody will bring up some weird shit and I'll be like, oh, yeah, and have some 2 cents to drop. You know what I mean? No, I
98% of the time.
I appreciate that. But no, I like being in the know, people. And I wish I was more like this when I was younger. I guess I kind of was, but my focus was different, you know?
Right.
I mean, I've always been me, you know? What's the chat talking about?
Milk. Cow milk.
Still?
Raw cow milk.
No, I drink that raw coconut. That is probably one of my favorite. I even cook with it. Like when I make like cornbread and stuff like that.
Oh,
Man.
nice. That must be good.
Oh, dude, with the jalapenos. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, jalapenos are just beautiful.
Aren't they? Man. People that don't like peppers, I just don't understand.
Well, it's painful for some. I think it hurts.
Bernie, she doesn't like spicy, but every now and then.
You slip it in there.
So on one night, due diligence was showing a cowboy cooking. Older white gentleman on a ranch somewhere, and all his cooking videos are like outdoors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a sloppy Joe recipe. And I was like, oh, damn, I haven't had sloppy joes in forever. There's a vegetarian way of doing it. And I was rendering it down and I made a video to upload to Do because he was the one that inspired me to do it in the first place, right? And in the video, I mentioned something like, yeah, don't tell Bernie I put a can of diced jalapenos in this motherfucker. You know what I mean? And I was laughing about it. Oh my God, those sloppy joes were delicious, man. I don't know when the last time was you had some, but I highly suggest it.
It's been a little while.
And when you do it right. So a lot of times when I cook, I don't measure. I listen to my ancestors, bro, and I just throw shit in. You know what I mean? Oh, and that's the best way.
Agreed.
I don't remember if I ever shared this with you. I have a video bookmark on YouTube, and it talks about energy and food, right? And he was basically saying that when you go to a restaurant, the people that are cooking your food, you know, you got the cooks cussing out the servers,
Oh, yeah.
and they're pissed off at even being there in the first place, and they got all this negative energy that's going into your food, right? Versus home cooked. And because you have the intentions of, making a meal for your family, you care, you give a fuck, you want it to taste good, you know what I mean? You putting love energy into it. And then he brought up, I think this is why people used to pray over their food before they ate.
Ooh, good point.
I never thought of it like that. Put that energy into it before you digest it.
Yeah. That's a good.
I
idea.
swear I never thought of it like that. But dude, I love to cook for us. I wouldn't like to do it for a living.
Right. Can you tell Prairie Fire what coconut milk you get? Does it have a lot of sugar in it?
No, I get the unsweetened.
Nice.
Uh, damn it, what brand is that? Because lately we haven't been able to find coconut milk, so I got almond milk right now.
I blame
Let me
Biden.
go look at the brand name. I forgot what the brand name is. I know I look at the box. You know what I
All
mean?
right. And the Texan says,
Wait, did you say Prayer Warrior Girl?
no, I said Prairie. Well, maybe I did, but I meant to say Prairie Fire.
Oh. I'll be right back.
The fire it's cooked on. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at some steak on Saturday. Just telling you. Just letting you all know I'm going to try a new steakhouse on Saturday. And I'm about to pass out.
The almond milk that I have now is Simple Truth, but
Oh, yeah, I
sometimes
know
I
that
get
one.
Silk. Silk
Okay.
is a brand that I like.
Yep.
I want to say the coconut milk are one of the two, because those two brands have the same thing.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
That sounds right. I remember that. Black
But
Yoda, you might. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna
say,
say,
yeah, go ahead.
I send Bernie to the grocery store. I hardly ever go to the grocery store.
Yeah. I'm thinking about passing out because I, as usual, didn't sleep enough this week.
I noticed that like 10 minutes ago.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yawn on everyone.
I was just trying to milk it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love it. We were talking about the milk in the chat. No, I feel bad because every week I'm like, gotta sleep more on Tuesday night, and I never get around to it. But sometimes I do.
Now, for such a short section
Yeah,
that we
did
went over
all right.
tonight, basically Sarah spit out a kid, got
Mhm.
super pissy at Sarah or Hagar, and in a sense, she's going back on her promise. God didn't go back on his.
Right.
That's what I get out of that. That's why I have a different viewpoint of Sarah. And you know God is real.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen your husband talk to him. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, this lady is something special. But outside of that, there wasn't much to say about that.
We covered the parts that I thought were interesting.
So I don't have much for a close. I pretty much said everything I got to say. I need to go use the restroom and take my doggo for a walk.
Awesome. Say hi to Doggo for us.
Silo. Y'all wanna see Doggo?
Of course.
I don't know if you can see that mug. Hey,
Aww.
Shallow.
I could see him for a second. Oh, that's cute. He's
Shiloh.
shy. He's shy.
You camera shy, bud?
Oh, Shiloh.
Nah, I'm gonna take Butthead for a walk. Plus, you know what? Real quick. For some reason, when I wake up, I always get these little knots in my lower back.
Ooh.
What is that from?
I can't think.
So a lot of times early in the morning, I take him
then I gotta walk it off for a couple of blocks.
I don't know. They probably have a name for it, but do they know what causes it?
I think it's the chair. The chair that I'm sitting in right now.
Ah,
It's something about it.
that could be.
Yeah. Chairs are very important, people. You don't buy one because of how it looks. You buy one because of how it suits you.
Mhm.
I can speak on that simply because when I had that pinched nerve, some chairs that I sat in, it would just flame up. In others, it didn't bother me at all. You know what I mean? So no, I know chairs are part of it. But with that said, if you want to close us out,
Yeah.
I'll say goodbye to the chat. And hopefully next week we'll have more topic to go over.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best, sir.
As long as we're doing it.
Yeah. I'll get as much cranked in there as I can.
All right. Well, like I've said before, it's been fun. I love you. I love the chat. Love the Foxhole. All of y'all stay 100. Keep your energy 100. And put foot in that devil's ass.
Amen.
Black Yoda out, people.
Beautiful. Let me start the outro music. Can it be found? Here we go. And all right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Black Yoda. The Texan says, thanks for the shows and the people that gather here. Thanks for the people that gather here. Absolutely. And thanks for being here, the Texan. Prairie Fire says, pray over your dogs and cats' foods also. Excellent. My kid will love that idea tomorrow. We're doing that. That's a great idea. And eat a hot pepper every day. The Texan and Prairie Fire are on target. Something with peppers in it. Let me release the scratching. There's a little bit in there. So see what you can do to get out after that scratch. Thanks, Namster says, rest well all. Do you guys see the scratch off yet? Is it there? Is it there? Is it there now? Is it there now? Is it there now? What about now? What about now? What about now? It's not there. I can't get the scratching to work. I'm trying. I really am. I'm trying, boys and girls. I'm trying as hard as I can. Does it release it? Oh, say somebody got some. So good. It's working. Working. All right, so I'm going to break down the green screen. It takes about 10 minutes to break it all down. Oh, I'm going to stop by Java. I just decided. I'm heading there immediately. Java does such good stuff. All right, so let's crash Java. With that, I'll see you here Friday at 5:30 p.m. Texas time with Angular for the Bread Pill Weekly. And then Sunday at 9 p.m. Texas time with Rev and Sloan TV for Armor Up, Episode 3. I'll see you then. And then back here Wednesday night. Love you all. Thank you for spending time with us. We're joined on Fridays by co-host Angular. This has been G. Ross, and you are the underscore. Be sure to catch us on the foxhole.app, DLive, YouTube, or Facebook. Current shows include The Bread Pill Weekly. You've been red pilled, now be the red pill. You're out of the oven and ready for delivery on our our weekly alternative news roundup and call-in show on Foxhole, D-Live, YouTube, and Facebook every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Central, co-hosted by G. Ross and Angular. Current shows include Epistemology for Fun and Profit, where woo meets goo. You're in the woo, and the woo is in you. A philosophical call-in show with occasional guest interviews, diving into the oldest questions. Most episodes are exclusively on the Foxhole.app, Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Central. Current shows include 9dNation, the nation with no denomination. Declare to the custom agents any edible plants or miscellaneous worldviews. We take a look back at how we got here, eventually leading into a regular Wednesday night Bible study at 11 p.m. Central. Catch us on the Foxhole.app, D-Live, YouTube, and Facebook. Our Friday co-host is Angular. This has been G. Ross, and you are the underscore.